So Korthaos is a family-owned business, as Mary has already explained. I am second generation. My father, he initially started Korthaos in around 1980 with a different type of pump, which focuses more on sludges. So we, in general, have two types of pumps in our company, and both types of pumps focus on the sludges. I'm more on the water side than the type of pump my father developed is, but in general, it's the same. Every fluid which has dry content in it or abrasive media, that is our business. So the main problems which pumps have is we call it heart problems. Pumps is always the heart of a plant, because you have to move things. You have to move solids, you have to move liquids. And because of that, the pumps have to have a very high reliability for the plants to work. Just as because we are focusing more on a smaller plant side, we say 1,000 euros per day is the damage when the plant does not work. In chemical plants, it is much higher, like up to 20,000 euros per day when the plant is not running because of a pump maintenance, for example. And what got me started onto this business of the pumps was more the data on the right side. 4-week short life cycle with spare parts. The pumps which I am focusing on, they are Rotary Low Pumps. It is one of the standard pumps used in wastewater treatment plants and in biogas plants. And they always have a very high amount of spare parts they have to use. So it does not matter in which country you look, because wastewater is always the same. The spare parts, they only lasted in other pumps like 4 weeks. So every 4 weeks, plant owners had to buy new parts, they had to do maintenance on the pump, and because of that, irregular maintenance business comes on top. So, and that is why I said, perhaps there's something better which we can develop. So that was our main goal. From the cost side, I explained it already. You have energy costs on the pump, you have maintenance costs on the pump, and you have acquisition costs. And when you talk to customers, for example, they only focus on the 10%, and they say, and I say, okay, but what about the other? What about the other percent? For us, it was possible to develop a pumping concept, which focuses on more like the maintenance and the energy part. We made a pump more efficient because of mechanical improvements. We combined it with a new material concept, which allows for the first time for sustainability in the spare part process. And now what we are currently doing is we develop a digital toolkit for maintenance, which is not based on a cloud business, but more on a small microcontroller business, so that it is also usable for small plants which are decentral, so like very small plants. Yeah, that is the 3 steps what we are doing, and in numbers is this is the improvement which we can achieve, which we have achieved with our customers up until today. So in comparison to other pumps on the market, we get 3 times up to 12 times more lifetime in spare parts. So for example, when the spare parts last only 4 weeks, with us, the spare parts last up until a year. The 30% up to 30% increase in pumping efficiency is very relevant to wastewater plants, especially here in Germany, which I now will tell as an example. Here in Europe, for example, the wastewater treatment plant they get regulations on how that they have to get more efficient. And yeah, because of that, now everybody has to do it. And we have one example here in a wastewater communal treatment plant where we have measured the electrical energy used on the pump in comparison to other types, to 3 other competitor types. And we got up to 40% increase, meaning 40% less energy, electrical energy was used from the motor. Yes, and to sum that up, when you look at the cost side, the customer has to buy less spare parts. He has to buy less electrical energy, and because of that, he saves 50 up to 60% of the follow-up cost. And because and in addition to that, he can just give the used spare parts back, so he does not have to get them into the waste business, which here in Germany at least is pretty complicated, and yeah, it is not much fun. Yeah, what we do in general is, as I explained, 2 types of business. We have the pumps and we have an intelligence kit, which we sell in addition to that. So now I have a small picture of the plant. So you have a pumping chamber. I hope everybody can see my mouse trigger here. Is it seeable here when I move it here? Okay.
Yep.
Great. So you have a pumping chamber here, and this is also the rotor and some protection areas which you get in different material combinations depending on what kind of fluid you're pumping. For example, when you have more sand in the media, then you get a different type of wear and tear in the pump than, for example, when you have chemical abrasive media in it. And because of that, we have different material combinations which are combinable with each other. And what we do a bit differently than other competitors on the market, we put the rubber coating, if there's rubber coating even in the pump, then we put it on the outside, for example. We don't put it on the rotor itself, and only because of that changing, the pump lifetime in spare parts increases up to 50%. So meaning it lasts 8 weeks and not 4 weeks. But of course, we have a little bit more done than that. What we are mainly focusing on is the rotor itself. We have invented a new shape for the rotor, which is very, very efficient, very more high efficient than what you can see on the market. One person in the US I talked to before the holiday season, he said, "Oh, it's the ultra high efficient." I wouldn't go as far as that, but it is a little bit better and it is market proofed. In addition to that, we have a very high-end sealing here that the gearbox does not get damaged, and we combine it with a automation kit, meaning we have different type of sensors on the pump. Meaning we do an analysis with the customer, what is used already in the pumping process, what needs to be looked at in addition. Then we combine these sensors with the sensors already in the plant, and do a analysis, a predictive maintenance analysis on a small microcontroller, and that data can also be used can be used by itself, or it can be integrated into other into other systems which are already in the plant. Yeah, and that is what we're doing. The automation kit we have now launched for the first time 2 months ago, and what we can tell up until now, because I'm always a little bit holding back with numbers up until we have proven them on the market. What we can say up until now is that the savings the pump will increase up until 10% because of the data analysis. And what is the main advantage for the customers is they can normally, when they do the maintenance business, they do it solely on personal experience when the pump will expire. When they integrate, for example, a new pump into a business, then they first have to learn the pump. They have to get to know the pump. And sometimes that is a little bit difficult. Then perhaps the maintenance, the people who do the maintenance, they change in big plants. And it's always a struggle. And so with the data they get from the pump, they get the experience from the pump itself. They don't have to acquire it again. So the pump is learning by itself. And in addition, on top of that monitoring, of the data monitoring to schedule the maintenance, we also are at the moment developing an automation for the running of the pump, for example, when it does have for example, the pump is running out of the optimized point in the efficiency diagram, then it regulates the motor, for example, to get to the optimal point again. For example, with a frequency converter, and there are different type of measurements which you can use, but that can also be done in addition to the data monitoring. So these four things which we're doing. We are doing automatization of the pump, the monitoring business, and then we have the CADI Rotor and CADI Protect as an innovation focus. Yeah, I have also put it here just to see it a little bit better again. So I talked about this optimized shape of the rotor. That was, it was also a little bit try and error. When I initially started it, it was just to say, okay, let's see if we can get it a little bit better. I'm personally very surprised that it is up to 30% better, but that is also a field-proven data. So that is not something out of theory or something, that is field-proven on the market. I already explained about maintenance management, plant optimization, process optimization, and KD Protect describes everything which has to do with material business. So different type of steel combinations, of rubber and steel coating combinations. We do a lot of stuff in that area, but we do it in a way that it is always recyclable, that is always a business. For example, when you have rubber coated pump parts, which is very common in the area of pumping dry content, because you need something like a hard part and a not hard part. You cannot pair material hard against hard because the pump will go into blocking, and we do these spare parts always in a way that they are recyclable, so they can be sent back to the service station, where they will be reused. For example, with the rubber coating can be taken off, and the steel part can be used again. It can be recoated. As a simple example, that is not possible with other competitors on the market. So I have also, of course, put something a little bit on other market competitors. Of course, there are other pump competitors who do these pumps, but not in a way which we do. Many people in the Rotary Low business are focusing on agriculture and not on the industrial and wastewater business. And I personally have seen from experience that the business is not the same. And with our pump design, we are focusing on water treatment as a very high focus. We are also doing biogas, but wastewater treatment is one of our main businesses. Yeah, I have, from the cost side, I have put our grant improvements into a few numbers and have done a cost comparison, which is an example from one of our customers. He has a pump now for 4 years, and we put the data which he had with another pump from another market competitor in comparison here, and the savings he will acquire over 15 years, they are around 42%, which is pretty high. Some have 30% savings, but we have one customer who goes up to 60% of savings. And yeah, so that is what we do in general. So of course we put a pump in, but we also do a little bit of service around it. With the digitalization, we can improve very much for the pumping business itself. But as I said, people, they have to get to know the pump. And that is what we are there for. We are doing consulting after in the after sales process. So we see that the pump is running. We do the maintenance businesses for the first times with our customers. We do cost comparisons and see, okay, perhaps he can also improve his plant process around the pump a little bit. And sometimes, not sometimes, but many times, people get great improvements out of it. Yeah, in comparison with the life cycle cost, I've just put it into a diagram again. Yeah, in general, I always say 200,000 euros can be saved in comparison to other pumps on the market. We offer pumps in different type in different stages. For example, in the premium, you have the monitoring included. In Premium Plus, which we are currently developing, you have this automatization that the pump can regulate itself again. When we sell the pump, we offer package deals to begin with. For example, we offer spare part sets, we do testing pumps, and yeah, that is what we do. I have just put some market data in here, and then I will get out of it. We are, what you see on the right side is the areas we want to focus on. So India is one of these areas at the moment, because of that the error is a little bit bigger. We are at the moment, of course, located in Germany, and because of that, we are still a little small for a company. We focus on the areas around it because it is manageable, but we want to expand now to US and India. We want to prepare for that, to go to tackle the market at latest at the beginnings of 2024. And yeah, in general, I will skip one. Wastewater, biogas, and waste disposal is the business for us, and wastewater is yeah, it is for me. It is also a hard project, because you can put sustainability into everything. Also into pumps. You see, I'm passionate about pumps, and that is why I put sustainability into pumps. But you can do it for every project. So the project which I have presented to you now, or I am still presenting, it is, you can also do it, for example, with compressors, with motors, with buildings. You can put digitalization and sustainability into everything. perhaps also a little bit interesting. I personally started with a project in 2016. I have then won design awards and innovation awards here locally in Germany with a market, and we have done the product launch with the pumps around 2019. The main product launching phase was between 2020 2021. We have now around 30 pumps on the European market, where we can now also do data analysis with a pump. And in the next few months, we will launch our next big project with the next 20 pumps. So yeah, we are getting bigger, bigger in great steps. And now at the moment, we have also pumps in Denmark, Norway, and France and Poland. And now in the next few months, also in the Netherlands. So yeah, that is how we are expanding at the moment. And to do a little bit step back, I just wanted, as a final one of the final things I wanted to present to you is these type of pumps, which is the other type of pumps which we are doing. So these sludge pumps, they are always used when other pumps don't work at all. So with the pumps, the rotary low pumps I have presented to you today, they always have a little bit of spare costs. Like, as I said, it lasts longer, up to 12 times longer, but of course you still have spare parts cost. With these pumps, you don't have any spare parts cost at all, but the acquisition cost is very high. So, but we have examples of the pumps running, which we sold in the 1990s. For example, one pump in South Africa in a wastewater treatment plant, which we sold in 1991, and they have bought spare parts 2 times up until now, and the pump is still running again. And 2 years ago, they said, okay, we want to expand in the wastewater treatment plant, and they bought 2 new pumps. Because they said, but we want it exactly the same as it was in the 1990s. I had to tell them, okay, now it is a little bit more electrical than in the 1990s, but of course you can get the same pumps than over 20 years ago. So yeah, these pumps is what we're doing. And here you just see a small picture of me and my co-founder Tobias. He is responsible for the technical, for the digitalization part in the company, and yeah, I'm a mechanical engineer, and that is why I'm focusing on the mechanical improvements. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm happy to discuss how it is possible to expand Korthaos pumps to India.